Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel and in particular my EFL crew. This video is sponsored by Ultimate Champions, which is the new generation of fantasy football game. It's a mix between Prem Fantasy and FIFA Ultimate Team, but in particular, if you think you know your Championship players or EFL players as well, I've put together a team for this free-to-play game, Ultimate Champions, and I want you to take me on in my league. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but enjoy the video. Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel and my Championship Team of the Year video, but there are restrictions. There are always restrictions. This is the James Lawrence Allcott channel. This is normal channels, yeah? JLO. Okay, so there will be restrictions because what I want to do is to create a debate that you can take to the pub or to any social gathering and go, all right, babe, love your dress. You seem quite nice. I'd love to take you out one night and talk about my Championship Team of the Year, which has the following restrictions. That's what we're trying to do here. If you are new to the channel, then please do consider hitting the subscribe button and hit the like button if you love the EFL. Now, here is the restriction. I will be putting forward a Championship Team of the Year. I'd love you guys to do the same and get involved in the comments. This video is going to annoy you, by the way. But the restriction is this. You can only put forward one player from a team, because otherwise we just have a lot of Fulham players in this Championship team. Or I might just crowbar 8 QPR players. But we're not doing that. So one player per team, and that affects it, and there's some big casualties due to that in my team. Right, let's get into it, starting with the goalkeeper. So Mark Travers is the Bournemouth representative in this team of the season when it comes to the Championship, and I had to put him through. There's been a lot of players that have done really well. Dominic Solanke, for example, misses out. Lerma's a good player for them as well, and Jaden Anthony, of course, has been fantastic on that left-hand side. But Mark Travers, I think, has just had... The Irishman has risen to the top, you know. He's been the cream of the crop, the Irish cream of the crop, shall we say. Huge displays, big moments that have rewarded them with points. And then the first one I remember was the game against QPR where he made so many saves and got them the points. Really was down to them because QPR on that day were pretty good. He's prevented 4.7 goals so far this season, which has won Bournemouth points, which is the whole point of a goalkeeper. It's been interesting because he's never really had that top spot or the #1 role, and he has now. With so much Premier League talent, he has risen. Other big performances include games against Barnsley, 7 saves in that one, 6 saves against Fulham, and 6 saves against Blackpool as well, which all allow us to herald Travers for his brick wall qualities. Right, first side question. There's going to be a few of these along the way, and the right back spot, I think certain fans of certain clubs will know what I'm about to ask. When it comes to right backs, who is the better right back, Isaiah Jones or right wing back, or Jed Spence? Let me know in the comments. I'll leave that to you guys. I'm not going to go with Jed Spence. Big reason for that is the fact that there is so many Nottingham Forest options, and I had to let one go. There's other casualties. Forest fans, you're going to be both annoyed and understand the rules of it. That's kind of the point of all of this. But Isaiah Jones is going to be my pick. Other good players for Borough this season: Marcus Tavernier, Paddy McNair has had a really good season. Matt Crooks has had a good first season for Middlesbrough. And down that right-hand side, Crooks and Isaiah Jones have been really, really good. Isaiah Jones, I think, pips it though because the team kind of does not revolve around him, but it's geared towards getting him on the ball. Great pace, great dribbling ability, great vision at times as well. 13 big chances created this season. He's brought that aspect of playing as a winger into that wing-back role. He's really, really exciting and a bit scary to watch. He was when QPR were playing Middlesbrough. 8 assists so far this season at the time of recording. I'll be honest, that would definitely be in double figures if they were that little bit more deadly up front. The dribbling is the main facet for him, and yeah, as I say, they've been very well utilised in getting the best out of him. It also offers 1.9 tackles per game as well, so I think he's a really good fair shout for that right back spot and also as my Middlesbrough option. Into the centre-back positions, and a lot of teams play a back three. I'm not going to do that for this team. I like to go with a 4-3-3 a lot of the time because the centre-back positions aren't that sexy, really. And actually, when it comes to the Championship, there wasn't loads of players that sort of sprung to mind. One straight away, but then after that, needed to do a little bit of digging for it. And one of the ones where we started digging, we said this name, we went, yeah, actually, we probably should go with him. Sean Hutchinson. Sean Hutchinson has been great for Millwall for a long time and has had a fantastic season for a team that is always so difficult to play against, and that sort of late run towards-ish the playoffs is certainly down to people like Sean Hutchinson and them being, the games being tight and then winning those games, and that comes from not conceding too many goals. He's averaging 4.5 tackles and interceptions per 90. His reading of the game is really, really great. Yes, it is in a back three, but when Dan McNamara ventures forward, he's really great at covering him as well, and I think he deserves the credit and adulation of being in my team. The other centre-back position, I've gone with Levi Colwill. The reason for this, and it's difficult because I love Lewis O'Brien. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And again, one of those players, and I'll say this a few times in this video, players that really sort of look a bit bigger and a bit more impressive when they played QPR in particular. Was someone like Lewis O'Brien in the midfield. Just felt like he was absolutely everywhere, but he doesn't make it into this team because I've got to have Levi Colwill. Last year it was Mark Goldbridge. This year it is Levi Colwill when it comes to the Cobham production line. It's absolutely outrageous the amount of players that Chelsea are bringing through. And Levi Colwill at 19, in terms of his composure on the ball, his ball progression, for him to go in and step in and be such a huge part of a team that I expected to be right down there. A lot of Huddersfield fans, of course, have let me know that. But he has been a huge part of proving me wrong. Sorba Thomas, also another player who's had a really good year. The assists have dried up that little bit, but, 11 assists is pretty special for him. But he wins around 60% of his ground and aerial duels, which is very impressive. Again, for someone so young, he's got a huge career ahead of him, especially as that left-footed centre-back, and he's still got some big moments to come. For the experience that he'll gain from this season. There are certain players in this team that will be playing in the Premier League very, very shortly. I would expect Levi Colwill to be one of those players next year. Wouldn't be surprised if he did that jump, like Mark Goldbridge, to a Crystal Palace or a team within that level, and we see him playing for England very, very soon. Over to left back, another one that was a little bit tricky when it came to putting forward a player who was outstanding, but also someone who only took one spot for their team. I'm going to go with Ryan Giles. Now, that could be as a Cardiff representative, because in the first half of the season, he was on that left-hand side and did brilliantly for a very, very poor Cardiff City side. And it was his set-piece delivery, his chance creation was very, very good. And so I'm going to put him out there. But I am intrigued to know if there's another player that I've missed. By the end of the video, make sure you watch to the end of the video. Is there a player that I could have put at left back from another club available that I didn't choose from? Because I've gone with Ryan Giles, who did have a good season, 2.1 key passes per 90 this season. Since he's gone to Blackburn, plays a bit more of an advanced role on the right sometimes, but we're putting him as a left back. Created 16 big chances, mostly supplying, of course, those big men. And as I say, great crossing ability. Right then, EFL and Championship fans, you're watching this video, so you probably know a lot about players that people don't know much about. So you've got an advantage when it comes to the sponsor of today's video, Ultimate Champions. As I said at the start of the video, it's a new generation of fantasy football gaming with that sprinkling of NFTs as well. It's like Premier League fantasy football and FIFA Ultimate Team. You go and get your NFT cards, you build your team, but also you play in competitions each week, gaining points which provide financial rewards which allow you to then buy better cards and to do the same once again with your NFTs. So the beta version for Ultimate Champions is now out. There's only a few weeks left of the season, so it's a nice one where it's a bit of a taster. You can have a look at this, put together your team, see how you get on, see if you know a little bit more than other Championship and EFL fans, and then as the game progresses with new leagues, new players, it'll be fit and firing for the new season, and you can be at the front of the queue as one of the early players. So how does the game work? It works like this, very simply. You sign up, you get credits, you draft 11 players, you put forward a team, and then from there, you compete in game weeks with your friends like me, and I've got a league, I'll show you in a second, and you start collecting rewards from your points from the players that you've drafted, and then you can invest those rewards into building a stronger squad. So with it being the end of the season, this is actually the beta version that's just been launched. So it's a good time to sign up because you can have a bit of a taster. There's currently 30 teams. There's going to be more teams added along the way. It's a perfect time if you are a fan of the Championship or League One to dive into this and get a bit of an advantage. Right then, guys, come and have a look at my team. This is my team so far. I've got Nichols in goal. I've gone for Huddersfield and Millwall in a big way at the back this week. Millwall playing Birmingham, Huddersfield playing Barnsley. Toffolo, he's got a goal in him. Colwill scored a last-minute winner. I think it was at Sheffield United, and I just love him. I think he's a great player. Two solid defenders there in Malone and Cooper as well for Millwall, who've got Birmingham City, I think could do well. My captain this week, Jed Wallace. Swifty next to him. He's had a cracking season as well. I'm really pleased with his midfield, actually. And then Afolayan and Gregory, who's been in good form. They've got Wigan, but I'm going to go with Gregory because I think he has been scoring goals at the moment. Here's the bit where you will have the advantage as an EFL fan. If you go into the games and then you have a look at the points within those games, very, very well broken down. So offensive, for example, he scored a goal, so 80 points for that. Shots on target, 20 points for that. You know, defensive stuff, he's got himself 48 points from his defensive work as well. So it's the breakdown of all of it that's really, really interesting. Someone who's getting loads of interceptions is going to get you loads of points. So it's not just about goals and assists. The rewards you achieve in the game depend on your performances, not your ranking in your league. So you can have loads of different leagues and it doesn't really matter about that. It's more about your performance. And of course, NFT and cryptocurrencies that you earn through your rewards do hold real life value. Note that common cards aren't tradable NFTs, but they do help with your squad depth when you're picking your team. There is a link in the description right now which will take you to the Ultimate Champions website. As I say, completely free to play. Click on the link in the description, get involved. If you're an EFL fan, this is definitely one for you. And come and take me on. See if you can beat me. You won't. But give it a go. Defensive midfield. This is where you get really angry with me, because I was working it out and I was trying to figure out, again, you can only have one player in every position. I know you know the rules, but it's a big reason for some of these picks. I've gone for James Garner. Now, James Garner is wonderful. He's going to garner a lot of money one day if he leaves Man United. He could well make his way at Man United and be a first teamer. Definitely. He has the potential to do that, as has been shown in his loan spells. And this season for Nottingham Forest, there's other players you could put. Yates could be put forward for this as well. And the one that I'm gutted about is Brennan Johnson. I haven't got Brennan Johnson in my Championship Team of the Year. Now, if we were just doing who are the best players, full stop, no restrictions, he would be in. Okay, just to be clear, Forest fans, don't get too angry with me. But I've got better options elsewhere and better options further forward. There's a longer list there. So I've been able to move it around. There have been so many good players. Jed Spence, of course, we spoke about him earlier, would be amazing for as a pick, possibly for a Championship Team of the Year as well, in terms of the points per match. When he's playing in the team, it's very, very high, the highest for Nottingham Forest. But James Garner, let's talk about him. Lovely elegance, lovely composure on the ball, and he's very up and at 'em. He's a proper midfielder, you know, happy to press, loves a slide tackle as well, good size about him, great passing ability, and just great enthusiasm as he plays the game. And I think that's something that I really, really enjoyed about him. There weren't too many defensive midfield options. Hamer was one option that could have been put forward. Lerma, for a second, we were thinking about that as well. Sam Field's been very good for QPR since he's come in, but the performances of the entirety of the team has not been great. Lewis Bryan, who we spoke about earlier as well. James Garner's got pretty much everything you want from a midfielder in terms of key passes. 1.9 key passes per 90, which is pretty solid. Most in the Forest squad. 1.7 interceptions per 90, which is second in the Forest squad. 1.99 tackles per 90 as well. So as I say, very well-rounded defensively. And then 80% pass success, which makes him really, really well-rounded, again, because he has that ability to have a high pass success rate whilst being a player that wants to play the ball forwards, which I think if you want to be playing in the Premier League and want to be playing for Man United, then you need to be excelling in the Championship, and that means, as a midfielder, getting on the ball and making an impact, passing the ball forwards. Right, those next two centre midfield positions, I've gone for more attacking options, if I'm honest. First of all, a must in the team, Morgan Gibbs-White. I've spoken about him often on the channel. I think he's a really exciting young player in the shape of Levi Colwill, in terms of being a human body shape, but in shape for the fact that he's a player that, you know, has had England recognition, needs to be playing in the Premier League next year, in my opinion, at 22. This was a good move for him, but he needs to be playing the Premier League. 18 goal involvements, that's 9 goals, 7 assists, playing a bit more advanced generally for Sheffield United, but I want him in this team, so I'm going to put him in midfield. Other Sheffield United options, Norwood was the other option, actually, which was a possible DM, which we could have done and moved things about. But I've gone with Morgan Gibbs-White. I just think he's a super, super talent. Alongside him, and it's, look, I'm getting one QPR player in. Has to happen. Chrissy Willock has played in a part of a midfield three. Again, is often on the attacking option, generally on that left-hand side. 18 goal involvement, 7 goals, 11 assists. Absolutely heartbreaking when we lost him. Huge for us to lose someone like that. And yeah, just killed us, to be honest. The thing I love about him on that left-hand side is that he's got that ability to take players out of the game, even from a standing start, through his awareness around him. He's got little elements of Bright Say Samuel, little elements of Abire Eze, and he's a kind of mix of both. And then that technical ability and touch that has been sort of honed at Benfica and Arsenal as well. He will be a Premier League player as well. He has that technical ability. I'm intrigued to see if he can go up a level. I hope he can. I think last season, it always goes in threes for me. You have players who have that first season going, am I good enough for this level? Then the next season, like, oh, yeah, I'm good enough for this level. And the next year, it's like, right, get out of my way, because I'm good enough for this level. I'm too good. And that's what Chris Willock is doing. So hopefully next season is the season for him. In terms of those dribbles, 2.2 successful dribbles per 90 with a success rate of 63. No one has dribbled past players as much as Chris Willock this season per 90. Absolutely fantastic season for him. We will get solid cash for this lad if he has to go, but I hope he stays. Right, over to the right wing, and I'm going to go for Andreas Weimann. There is not another Bristol City option. But Andreas Weimann has had an absolutely fantastic year for them and has probably kept them up, let's be honest. I mean, maybe not with the points deductions and all that, but they've been pretty poo this year. But Andreas Weimann has had an absolutely fantastic year. 28 goals and assists. You can't really argue with that at all. 19 goals this year, 9 assists. I think his versatility at times with Bristol City, I think it's almost a line on Bristol City themselves that this is a guy who's played 5 games in centre midfield, 10 as a central forward, 17 as an attacking midfielder in behind the striker, played on the right, played as a right back for 2 games as well, according to Who Scored. So the output that he's provided has been amazing. And I guess coming of age season, maybe it's one where, okay, what is his ceiling? Maybe it's not the Premier League, but at 30, the Austrian has really hit the heights for him. You know, being the main man for Bristol City and doing as well as he has, I think he deserves a spot on that right wing. That said, Brennan Johnson, again, I apologise. Restrictions. Left wing, again, loads of options. Jamie Patterson at Swansea. Ben Brereton Diaz with 21 goals doesn't make it into this team. And the reason he doesn't make it is it's sentimental, if I'm honest, a little bit. I've been very, very impressed by Derby County this season. Wayne Rooney and how he's conducted himself. Had a chat with Liam Rossini earlier in the season. Was incredibly impressed in how he spoke about what he wanted to do and how he was going to do it. Stupidly articulate, intelligent guy, and a really great mix, those two. It really does feel like a good coaching team that could serve both of them really, really well. And hopefully Derby will bounce back because they're a huge club and a great club. So many performances that stats-wise might not, compare to the other guys. But in terms of quality, and again, quality when I've watched those teams play, I needed to put forward a Derby County player. And there was one that really stood out for me. I thought Tom Lawrence, as a player, to step up and become a captain, become a leader. I think he's shown that this year. 11 goals and 5 assists is pretty good as well for a team that was completely decimated. And as one of the very few senior players that Derby had this season, he's played pretty much everywhere along the front line. Often attacking midfield through the centre, but played on the left quite a few times as well. So I can sneak him in there, and I think he deserves it. And, tip of the cap to Derby County, not in a patronising way. I think it's difficult when those things are going on off the pitch, but I thought the attitude that team showed throughout and the bravery actually, and to play the right way. Yes, at times, there weren't a lot of goals, but they stayed in games, passed the ball well, some good performances along the way. Curtis Davies, a lot of those senior players, Ravel Morrison getting involved at times as well. But Tom Lawrence, I think, has been absolutely fantastic, and I feel quite strongly that he should be in my Championship Team of the Year. Final position, central striker, and we haven't got that Fulham player yet. We saved the best till last. Alexander Mitrovic. At the time of recording, he has scored 38 goals and provided 7 assists. Absolutely ridiculous. 45 goal involvements. Now, the way Fulham play, I think, has facilitated him a lot. There's a lot of discussion about Alexander Mitrovic, and let me know in the comments below, another side question here. Do you think he's good enough for the Premier League? It's the obvious question, but I think it's a fair one, and a big part of it is the fact that this Fulham side had so much quality that they would play with outrageous width a lot of the time. And what that did is it created a lot of space. You've also got players cutting through, great central midfield players on the ball as well, and you utilise the full width of the pitch. And that really worked for Mitrovic, who's one of those who, he kind of moves around quite slowly, but somehow his movement's still brilliant along the way. Incredible hold-up man, incredible finisher at times, great header of the ball, and just great understanding of kind of movement and getting into the right places. So you sort of watch a lot of his goals and go, well, surely they're going to stop that. But often it's just little nudges here and there that make him so good. Will he be able to do that in the Premier League? The big question is the fact that he will have less opportunities. And that has a ripple effect in terms of your confidence, because if you're not scoring as many goals, not getting as many chances, then your confidence can start to wane. But he has been ice cold this season, completely deadly for a Fulham side that scored so many goals. How many goals have they scored? I think it's mental, isn't it? He's had a simply ludicrous season, but he has been in a simply ludicrous squad in the Championship in Fulham this year. Marcus Silva's done well for them. They played brilliant football, and they just look like they're on another planet when they're playing certain teams, as you've seen from the 7-0s that they've won and accumulated along the season. Of course, one of the greatest beneficiaries of that has been Alexander Mitrovic, but still a record breaker. I mean, has to be the player of the year for the Championship, and someone that goes down in history as probably the greatest Championship striker of all time. So there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you agree with my picks? And have a go yourself. Make sure you tweet me at James Allcott. I'd love to see what team you put together, see if you can beat mine. Of course, remember, only one player per team. It's harder than it looks. That was my Championship Team of the Year. Thanks so much. Make sure you subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one.